It's been a difficult few weeks for the Chicago Police Department. After the revelations of more police brutality and an apparent department-wide cover-up, Mayor Rahm Emanuel apologized.
No citizen is a second-class citizen in the city of Chicago.
His words might be too little, too late. Chicago has more police-involved shootings than any city in the U.S., and the city has paid out $500 million in settlements and legal fees since 2004. It's pretty bad in Chicago, but the thing is, it's been that way for a long time. Corruption within the department dates back to the 1920s, when Chicago was synonymous with gangsters and crooked cops who couldn't get a handle on misconduct within their department. In 1968, after Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, riots broke out in Chicago. The city's mayor, Richard J. Daley, ordered police to shoot to kill protesters. Later that year, when the Democratic National Convention was held in Chicago, riots again erupted, this time between anti-war protesters and more than 11,000 police officers. More than 200 people were injured over 5 days. A study released later that year claimed the riots were mainly the police's fault and condemned the fact that no officers were prosecuted. The next year, Chicago police shot and killed Black Panther Fred Hampton while he slept, then allegedly covered up the crime scene. Then came one of the biggest scars on the Chicago PD. Between the 1970s and early 90s, one Chicago detective named John Burge was accused of torturing up to 200 mostly black men while they were in police custody. In order to score a confession, victims say Burge and his midnight crew subjected them to fake executions, suffocation, burning, and electric shocks with cattle prods. In 2008, Burge was indicted.
The people in police custody that were abused and tortured were suspected of awful crimes, but that is no excuse. Torture and abuse have no place in the Chicago Police Station.
This year, the city officially apologized and set up a reparations fund. But because of the statute of limitations, Burge was never officially charged with torture. Instead, he was convicted of lying in a civil case. He spent less than 4 years in prison and still receives a pension. Fast forward to 2015, when another Chicago PD bombshell was dropped. Journalists uncovered that the police were running an off-the-books holding facility in an old Sears building, basically a black site. The investigation found that police used the site, known as Homan Square, to essentially disappear suspects for hours or days at a time while interrogating them. Of the 7,000 people that are known to have been brought in, only 68 were allowed access to a lawyer or to call their families. And the suspects held were overwhelmingly black and mostly detained for drug possession. The Chicago PD, for its part, says it abides by all rules when interrogating people at Homan Square. An official investigation is slated for this month. The decades of secrets and abuse runs deep. In the last 4 years, 97% of almost 30,000 citizen complaints against officers have resulted in no punishment. Whistleblowers within the police department say there's a culture of fear, where anyone who points the finger at corruption is punished or ostracized. So, with decades of police abuse and corruption, can a mayor's apology really fix anything? And what will?